card game. It's in Flash, so it works on anything that supports Flash. It's like a mashup of a collectible card game, an RPG, and a board game. You have a team of 3 heroes that you take into a battle, and they have equipment on them, and the equipment determines what cards are in your deck for each of those characters. And then they draw from that deck for their hand, and that determines what kinds of actions they can take on the board. It's like the old school, like your GM sets out the dungeon with the grid on the table and you're moving your guys around on the grid. It's like that. You got a board down there which is built out of really pretty tiles, kind of retro looking, old D&D looking, really nice. And so you move your guys around on that board, kind of like a tactics game. And you've got some ground attacks that do area of effect. You have direct attacks on guys. If you move behind somebody, they can't block your attacks, so they're block cards, which are normally a passive card, don't go off then. So there's a lot of kind of tactics you can do on the board, and it's a lot of fun. So the way you earn new cards is not by buying booster packs, because I know you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna have to spend all this money. No, it's not like that at all. You earn new cards by getting equipment at the end of adventures as loot, and then the loot has the cards attached to it, basically. Each piece of equipment, as you equip it, adds those cards to your deck. And so you can keep a cache of extra equipment in your castle if you want to and pull it out and swap them around. So if you need something where you're fighting something that's resistant to piercing weapons, you can take your piercing weapon off that had those piercing attack cards on it and put in something that does bludgeoning instead. So you take a mace and stick it on there and it's got some bludgeoning cards. And then you can attack that thing and not worry about wasting cards. We have 3 races and 3 classes. Typically you're gonna bring all 3 classes into a battle, but you can mix and match the races however you like when you're setting up your team. If you don't like the team you've got, or if you want to try different combinations, you can recruit more heroes and put your other guys on ice back at the castle for a while. There are slight differences between the races. So for example, dwarves have more hit points, elves are faster, dwarves are pokey and slow, and elves are a bit more squishy. Humans are kind of the middle ground for you. And there are also racial abilities that can be equipped, like equipment can, and you earn those in the same way through adventuring. Your characters can level up as adventures go, and that unlocks new equipment slots that you can slot things into. And then you can go and take on, more difficult adventures and new dungeons and get higher level cards with interesting things. Now, cards don't only have beneficial cards, they may have disadvantageous cards, but those are cool too, because what ends up happening is sometimes you get a piece of equipment that has a really uber card on it, just something really awesome, but it comes with some disadvantage cards with it too, so it's kind of, you've got these cool trade-offs. You gotta make these decisions if you're gonna do that. Do I want this really uber card in my deck? Is it worth it to take these bad ones in there too? Some of those cards are really interesting, the ones you can get that way. It was inspired by a mix of, CCG games and old school retro D&D stuff, and a whole lot of stuff kind of mixed in there. And you can really see that inspiration in the artwork when you look at it. They look like old RPG modules, and they look like the little paper guys on stands on the board and all that. The art is just beautiful. Ben did a great job with it. Well, so it's both competitive and single player. We have a campaign mode that you can play through the story and do different modules. And we also have a multiplayer mode. Multiplayer currently is player versus player. We may have co-op at some point in the future, but we don't know if we'll have it in for ship. I mentioned earlier, we're free to play. This is not going to be a pay-to-win game. It's just not like that. And you're not going to be able to beat other players in multiplayer because you spent money. We do have a micropayment currency. It's called pizza, because that's Gary's favorite food. Gary's our game master mascot. You can take pizza. You can spend it on great things like art upgrades for your guys, or various cosmetic and vanity items and things like that. And we will probably also have some content that you can buy with it, like some new side stories and things like that. But the main campaign is going to be free. Currently, we do not have a hard and fast ship date. We are going to be going into beta soon. We are changing gears as soon as we get back from PAX to go from demo mode, where we are right now. And if you watch the game, you'll see it's really stable. It's like very playable at the moment. We'll be going from that mode into a more beta-oriented mode. So we got to do some load testing and be sure it's going to be able to deal with all these beta testers coming in and having fun.